Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. Brian Winnikins at World Dairy Expo. And thank you to our Expo sponsors, including Synergy Co-op, Osteoplastics, Annabis Silo, Compeer Financial, AMPI, and Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. I'm with Chad Vincent of Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. We're at the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin booth. It's in a different spot this year. We're in the main exhibition hall, not in the smaller room, just off the exhibition hall, so keep that in mind. But we're going to talk about some of the things going on with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. Chad, well, one thing is I'm sure everybody's just happy to be back seeing each other again.
It's so great to be here. I mean, yesterday was FFA Day. You had all the kids coming through here, and we had a constant stream of kids coming through and just asking, what is Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin? What do you do? It was a wonderful, just a fantastic day.
The pandemic brought some challenges, but the pandemic brought some opportunities. O'Galley Cheese is one of them that we've talked about a little bit, where they saw a very big increase in retail sales, not the restaurant sales, but retail sales from people wanting to know where the milk and cheese was all coming from. And we've seen that throughout Wisconsin, and Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin's kind of recognizing that.
Absolutely. I mean, cheese sales are going through the roof. And, when the pandemic first hit last year, it was really hard because almost half the cheese in the state typically goes through food service, so restaurants and institutions and places like that. And the other half goes to retail. And so when half of your business goes away, like immediately, it was a shock to the system. But the retail business has exploded and picked up for most of that stuff. Cheese sales in the state are significantly higher this year than they were last year.
And at the same time, we had the Dairy Innovation Center that's Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin's working with them. But even they were like, we were thinking about exports and how do we, sell more stuff. But now all of a sudden it's like, hey, wait a minute. We got something right here in Wisconsin in that local food connection.
Right. I mean, we have over 200 different cheese plants in the state, and the cheese is what Wisconsin's about. Places we were talking earlier, there are grocery stores that actually list, this is how many miles this cheese is made from here. And it's not just a handful. I mean, it's an entire set. People want to know where their food's coming from more now than ever. And we were talking about how local is so important. We have our badge, the Proudly Wisconsin Cheese badge that's on all the Wisconsin cheeses to let people know and make that link of this is a Wisconsin homemade cheese because, there's a lot of brands out there that seem like they're from somewhere else. Like Sartori and Saputo and those places. They're Wisconsin brands. They might not sound like it, but those brands have been here forever. And consumers want local now.
So what are some of the other things Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin is going to do to try to take, yes, we're the exports and those things are important, but how do we take advantage of that now?
Well, for one thing, when oftentimes we bring in major retailers to the state they go onto a farm, they go visit the cheese plants, and they order and they put the cheese, and all of a sudden you got 5 new Wisconsin cheeses in their stores. Well, all of a sudden nobody's traveling anymore. So we ended up doing these things. We figured out how to do it virtually almost overnight. So we had like dozens of major retailers around the country meeting virtually with cheese companies and meeting virtually with farmers and taking them on a virtual tour of the farm. And we sold more cheese virtually during that time than we typically do with the in-person elements. And so what that means is that there's more Wisconsin cheese being sold across the country. Because once again, we want local Wisconsin. A lot of people just want to know, where does this stuff come from? And by knowing that it's from Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is like the epicenter of cheese on the planet, our Wisconsin cheese sales have been exploding over the last 12 months, even more so than in the past.
So really, because of this proudly made in Wisconsin badge, Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin's actually been able to take that local connection, but use it in Missouri, a shopper in Missouri or a shopper in, I'll even say California,
Absolutely.
Who doesn't want those, and who knows Wisconsin cows are happier, that they know then, okay, this came from this place in Wisconsin.
Right, exactly. And we've been working with the cheese companies to actually have the makers, the master cheese makers. We put them on video, we put them online, and they tell their story about how they make their cheese, how they care for it, where the milk comes from, which farms it comes from. All of a sudden, all these stories about the provenance or where the whole flow of the product, consumers, once again, they really want to know. Even like 12-year-old girls want to know, where did my cheese come from? Where does this product come from? I don't want it to come from some unknown factory. If I know that it came from the county next door, it's a no-brainer.
Talking with Chad Vincent with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin today at World Dairy Expo. Chad, let's talk about the Adopt a Cow program.
Yeah, and another thing is, we spend an inordinate amount of time and resources getting into schools and talking to kids and making sure they understand about agriculture and about dairy. And all of a sudden, we can't get in face-to-face. So we tagged on to this program. We thought we'd maybe get a couple hundred involved with it, where we went to the schools and said, look, here's a cow, and we want you to adopt it, and you're going to follow it along for the full year. And we ended up with like thousands of people. And actually, the farm center took some of these calves and brought them to and the schools came and all visited their calf in person to see how it had grown. Once again, it's a simple thing, but all of a sudden you have people the kids that are interested in agriculture, and cows are wonderful, and they see how well they're treated, and they're like part of the family. It's been spectacular. So we've re-upped it, and we've got even more schools coming in this year.
And I would bet that not only are the kids pretty excited, but then all of a sudden mom and dad are like, what's this cow you keep talking about? And now they get interested.
They get interested in it. It's virtual, so the moms and dads are watching this stuff at home as well. And it's a family event. They end up going to meet the calf at the end of the year. But the teachers get involved, and all of a sudden agriculture is part of the vernacular. And teachers last year is brutal, and making life easier for them, and to have them then become more fans. Once again, the tighter the relationships can become, the easier it is for us to get the ag message to kids that really, most of them don't get much ag messaging.
And so with that messaging, is there the hope that this is going to translate into more kids drinking fluid milk again at school, chocolate milk for the athletes, whole milk back into schools? Is that the goal here, to try and get these kids interested in that part of it too?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing. It's getting them to realize the value of milk and what it all brings, but also not only just milk, but it's milk is yogurt, and milk is cheese, and milk is all these other, in Wisconsin, really, we eat our milk. I mean, we drink a lot of it, no doubt there, but getting the kids in the schools to realize that dairy is really important, and dairy's all around them, and dairy is vital for their health.
Is there another goal here as well, to help out Wisconsin's dairy farmers to get more kids interested in the industry, to work in the industry?
Absolutely. And when they get, all of a sudden you got thousands of kids falling in love with these cows, it opens up their eyes to, geez, maybe I should think about how do I get to work, because labor is so short now, and that's not going to go away. And so opening their eyes up to this whole new world, it's only incredibly positive.
Talking with Chad Vincent with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin today. Chad, let's talk a little bit about, again, more consumer things, fluid milk. Now, like for myself, I can drink Fairlife milk. However, there's the new 8-2 milk coming from Fenimore to help even folks that may have even more lactose intolerance or other food issues. Is that something else that with the Dairy Innovation Center, to try to find ways so that those who want to have fluid milk and dairy products, but they have some of these allergies, they can again?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's two things to talk about here. One, the Fairlife product for lactose intolerance folks is spectacular. And it's available, they partnered up with Coca-Cola, so the distribution is nationwide, and it's prevalent everywhere, and it's a great product for people. I especially love the chocolate.
I love the whole. Frankly, yeah. That to me, I can actually have cereal again where I couldn't with regular whole milk.
Isn't that great? And then we partner with the Center for Dairy Research in Madison and in River Falls, and they are the world's leading expert on all things dairy. I mean, when plants have issues, they go to Center for Dairy Research. When you need innovation, they go to Center for Dairy Research. I mean, they help develop a new product called Good Sport. I don't know if you heard about that, but it's a Gatorade type product for athletes that's based off of whey and milk byproducts. So it's a dairy-based sports drink that people can drink and it's got better rehydration properties than does Gatorade. It's amazing. And when people go, it's milk, it's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to drink milk when I'm out running. It's not milk. It's the insides of the milk, and it's so good, and it's so good for you.
And we've done some interviews with the folks from Good Sport, and that is really a big success story.
It is. Michelle and her team are spectacular, but it really wouldn't have happened without farmers investing and helping Center for Dairy Research figure out more ways to use milk in more different applications. They're amazing.
And for dairy farmers and consumers, they can go online to find out more about the Good Sport and some of the other things dairy farmers of Wisconsin are doing. What's the website?
It's dairyfarmersofwisconsin.com and wisconsincheese.com.
Check it out, folks. A lot of exciting things going on in the Wisconsin dairy industry. That's Chad Vincent with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. We are at World Dairy Expo. I'm Brian Winnikins for WRDN.